Hey everybody, so I'm coming to y'all with finally another video. I know it took a very long time. I guess I've been wondering what I wanted to do a video on because it's been a few ways that I've been wanting to express myself with everything that's been kind of taking place in the world recently, and I've just been kind of trying to think about what's the best way for me to get my message across. In order for people to reach it in the most effective way. So, either way, that's what brings me to this video. It was other times that I could have made a video, but I honestly didn't, just because, I don't know. I didn't want to speak in I didn't want to come in a video in my emotions. And, so now I feel like I'm in a more rational state of mind, and so I just want to come to y'all with a more rational video before we go forward. And I'm sorry if it becomes very long, but I feel like this video is kind of like an introduction to kind of like who I am and who it is that I'm gonna be presenting myself as throughout this channel journey. I don't know what to call this really. So yeah, I wanted to tell you all just like the main ideologies that I have, and the reason that I wanted to do that is because I feel like, as far as the topics that I'm going to be discussing on my channel, my ideologies are definitely going to play the major roles in those things, and I think that it's important for everybody to understand where I'm coming from, what it is that I believe, my ideologies, so that they can understand where my messages may be coming from in my future videos. And I also feel like it's a perfect time to find out if this is a channel that you want to subscribe to or not. You know, I might be someone who inspires you, or I might be someone who, you know, doesn't for the moment. You know, who knows? So either way, I feel like that's important for you all to know moving forward, if I'm going to be someone who you can take positive things away from, because I definitely don't want to, like, I hate to mislead people. That's just like a pet peeve of mine. So anyway, and as y'all can see, I don't have any music on this video today because I feel like it's a more like breakdown kind of video, and I want to make sure that you all can like completely hear and understand what it is that I'm saying. Okay, so anyway, so for my ideologies, I have three major ideologies that when I live my life that I think about. Well, I would say four, but the the fourth to me isn't really an ideology as much as it is life. So either way, three major ideologies. Well, I guess I'll start with my life. I live my life in a very spiritual way. I feel like I'm very, actually, I'm becoming more spiritual. Like, I'm on a spiritual journey. I feel like every day in life in general for everyone is a spiritual journey, or you can be on one, because I believe that you can always grow in your spirituality and your connection with the things that surround you. And recently, I guess I'll say that, and you'll find more out about this through my ideologies, but you know, recently I've been more on the spiritual side than I have been on the religious side. Like, I'm really, really into what I feel, and not and what I feel, and also facts, but yeah, but not so much what I've been taught, if that makes sense. So anyway, moving forward, you'll find out more about that. I should have did that one last, but anyways, moving forward. My ideologies. First ideology is Black nationalism. The second one, I'm a Pan-African, and the third is that I'm a womanist. And let's start with Black nationalism. Basically, what this means is that I myself advocate for blacks to have their own nation, to have their own everything, to have their own businesses, to have their own hospitals, to have their own, you know, literally everything, to have their own system of government or no government at all, whatever it is that we as a nation decide to do. And I believe as us being one nation, which goes into my second ideology, which is my Pan-Africanism. And for me to be a Pan-African, that means that I believe that all black diasporic bodies and those that are still even in Africa today are connected, you know. And for me, it's a very spiritual connection. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but to me, it's like magic. You know, we really are connected. And the way that I've seen, you know, Nigerians to Ghanaians to Jamaicans to blacks in America, you know, interact with music, with art, with just overall life is very similar. And with that being said, I'm a Pan-African, and I advocate for all black people to be educated on all diasporic African regions. So I like to study, you know, Haitian history to, you know, African history, to, you know, literally every African diasporic place. I think that it's important for us to start gaining our knowledge around those places. And also, it's important to see who our warriors were in these different regions and what tactics they used in order to overcome white supremacy. Because blacks in America right now, to be honest, you know, we in a lot of ways are less independent than other black nations. And well, we're not a black nation anyways. We don't even have a nation established. That's my point. So anyway, with that being said, I believe that we're all one people, and I believe in advocating for us as one people. I believe that a part of that is my black nationalism, meaning that I personally believe that black people from all over the world, we should all have access to each other. We should all have access to these different nations in these different places that we have you know, settled. And these should all be places that will welcome, that we are a family that's ours and only ours, and nobody's there. Nobody can come in and barge in, and they don't have their hands in anything. And this will go into, I mean, I believe in a black nation. I believe in us having a fully black nation. I do. And that doesn't mean that I believe that every black person needs to live there. That's not my business. But for me, what would satisfy my life, and what I believe that I've seen others say would satisfy their lives too, is to have our own nation, to have our own sense of government, our own independence. And the reason that that is because that, as we see in history, for those who study history, some of us see that when segregation was a thing and blacks didn't have access to anything white, you know, after slavery, when they tried to kick us out of everywhere, you know, we were just like, okay, well, what are we going to do now? So it was like, okay, now we have to establish everything of our own. So it was like, okay, we have our own beauty shops, we have our own gas stations, or we have our own airplanes and, you know, taxis and all this good stuff, and hospitals. We have our own everything because we have to, because there's no one else that's going to do it for us. And then we started to try to get accepted by them. We wanted to be a part of white society so bad. So then they didn't want us to, but then it's like, okay, now they let us. And I feel like they saw that by letting us in there, it just took away the competition. Not that we ever wanted to be in competition, but for them, it's always been a competition. It's always been about money. It's always been about who's who's going to be most powerful. And to us, I feel like we just been wanting to live our lives and be free. And with that being said, I believe that ever since that we started integrating, it put us at a place where we don't have anything of our own. It's like less than 25 black-owned banks around the country. That's unbelievable to me. Out of the freaking 50 states in America, you're telling me only 25 under is owned by black people. It's like we don't own anything of ours because we are satisfied with just being let into their doors and working for them instead of owning our own, creating our own. We are satisfied with just living this life. And for me, the way that I view the world now is through the black nationalist, the Pan-African mind, and knowing that black people, we are creators, we are innovators, we are artistic beings, we are overall spiritual, we connect to everything around us. We feel things, and I think that black people don't understand that it's things that we be feeling that I know for a fact that we don't say because we're afraid, because I've been there and I've done that. So anyway, with that being said, that's where I am. So I don't believe that every black person needs to feel like they have to live in a black nation. Do what you want to do, because I'm all about freedom. I believe that you should have a freedom of choice. And honestly, when we have our black nation, I want it to be a nation where we feel safe, where we have protectors, where we are a community. We're not even a community, we're a village, where we go back to our African roots and being a village. And that's what I mean about being Pan-African too, is that I put African ideals above all else, which goes into my spirituality. I lost religion when I realized that, Christianity wasn't it wasn't the religion of that my ancestors wanted to be a part of. It's the religion that they were kind of brainwashed into believing in the same way that I was. And that's something that I know that a lot of black people is really resistant against, which is why I want to say that on my channel right now, because to me that's something that I know plays a big role in our resistance towards empowering ourselves and fighting for our rights. And it holds us back a lot. The fact that we want to hold on to this non-violent and turning the other cheek thing, it subliminally holds us back. And so I want y'all to know that that's where I'm coming from. So now, if you ever do comment, or if I say something on a video and you want to comment with that kind of perspective, you will know where I'm coming from and however I choose to respond. But either way, moving forward, so I believe in all African ideals. I'm not a capitalist. I believe in us sharing our resources amongst each other, and like I said, being a village, us cooking together, communing together, whatever it is that we're gonna do. I believe us growing our own foods. I believe us getting to a point where we can be self-sufficient and where we never literally have to spend money again, to be honest. I want us to realize that we don't need money. That's the point that I want us to get to. But that also takes a lot of education and a lot of willingness on everybody's part to become educated, or to become, just more aware of themselves as African beings and not as Americans or whatever they've made us believe. And for my third ideology, I'm a womanist. And to me, womanism can mean a lot of different things to different people, just like feminism. But for me, womanism is a better term. I don't ever say that I'm a feminist, because I'm not. And the reason that I say that is because for me, feminism it is something that I never really felt like I could relate to, as far as what the feminist movement has many times fought for, being empowered around men and being able to like speak their voice and blah blah blah, and work, and all those kind of things, and have daycare and all those things that they wanted. That's me. I know Black history, and I know that's never been, those aren't, that's not stuff that we wanted, or that's not something that meant anything to us. And I mean, if you want to think about, as far as, I do believe that women should have the right to work if they want to, of course, of course. But for a Black woman who's been working ever since she's been in America for the past 400 plus years and has never stopped, and she's never even had the freaking privilege of sitting down, even if she was raising kids in a household, even if she was a house mom, it's still just so much more work on a Black woman than it is a white woman. It's different. That's not, why would I be a part of that movement? And then, as far as getting your kids into daycare, and I mean, for the Black woman historically having to take care of the white woman's child and couldn't even take care of her own child because she was taking care of the white woman's child, that, I mean, why am I fighting? Like, why would I fight for that ideal? So I mean, for me, I understand Black feminists. I respect you for, whatever you choose to, have as your ideology. But for me, that's the reason that I choose not to be, or not to identify myself as a feminist. I choose to identify myself as a womanist, which is a term that is more specifically for Black women, and it focuses on a Black woman, and it focuses on Black woman's culture, and the love for Black women, and our and women in general, but like the mystiqueness of a woman. And I guess I like that. And it also says that you fight for your child and the Black man all together. You understand that y'all being one. And that's exactly how I am. And that's another reason why feminism just wasn't a thing for me, because I felt like it always was kind of like in opposition to man. And I know that it says, most people, or a lot of people nowadays, say that it's not, but that's how it feels. It feels like it's like I have to choose my womanness over my Blackness. And for me, I always choose my Blackness first. And I would say how my womanness plays out in my Black nationalism, my Black nationalism and my Pan-Africanism is I've taken women's studies courses. I've taken a Black feminist thoughts course, and with that being said, I have a lens of a feminist. Like, I have feminist thought. I don't identify as a feminist, but I do have feminist thought. And with that being said, I believe that one of the biggest issues within the Black nationalists and the Pan-African movement is the sexism that still exists within our Black men. And it's a lot of people who call themselves leaders, or who once called themselves leaders, who are very, very sexist. And I feel like there is no way that you can be sitting up here fighting for Black rights and you not even, and saying one thing, Black women this, but you still don't hold her to the highest degree that you should, or that you could. So with that being said, I'm just one that calls that out, even within my own community. I'm a realist. And with that, I check all people. I believe in our community acting like brothers and sisters and checking each other. If we wrong, then we need to let each other know that we wrong. We need to act like we know. And yeah, and be there for each other. And that's pretty much how I feel about that. So I guess as far as my perspectives, they'll all come out of that lens. It'll always come out of the Black lens. It'll always come out of, how is this any way degrading Black people? Is this any way empowering Black people? If it's not empowering Black people, then I'm not gonna mess with it. I'm not gonna be pro anything that's not pro Black. I don't care if it's sitting on a fence. I'm not gonna be pro it. So I'm very critical of everything because I believe in us pushing ourselves to be the best that we can be always. And I believe in us always calling out our own stuff, because otherwise you don't grow. You know, if we can't be real with ourselves, if we can't be real with each other, then we ain't gonna go nowhere. And so with that being said, that's what my videos are gonna look like. I just wanted to give y'all that breakdown, and if y'all got any questions or concerns about anything that I said, if y'all want to know more about my ideologies, if y'all need some resources like some articles, whatever, you know, let me know, and I got you. All right, I'm sorry this is so long, but I'll see y'all later.